Welcome back to WealthWise Mindset. I'm Sean, and here we break down personal finance and investing so you can build real wealth wisely without the noise. Today, I'm going to share something personal with you, how I paid off $12,000 of debt fast without making six figures, and how you can do the same. It's possible to eliminate debt without having a high paying job, but it does take strategy, discipline, and a little bit of sacrifice along the way. If you're tired of drowning in debt and want to know exactly how to pay it off quickly, stay tuned because I'm about to break down the exact steps I use to eliminate 12K in a short amount of time. This is also applicable for any amount of money that you owe or any amount of debt you owe. You can use the same strategies that I used. Getting clear on my debt. The first thing I had to do was get clear on exactly what I was dealing with. Sounds simple, but it's the most important step. When I first looked at my debt, I realized I didn't have a solid picture of how much I owed. I had credit card debt, some tax debt, and a couple of smaller personal debts, but they weren't organized. Here's how I got clear. Number one, list all debts. I wrote down every single debt I had, including the balance, interest rate, and monthly payment. Number two, organize them. I grouped them into categories: high interest, credit cards, no interest, personal debt, and high interest, tax debt. Number three, calculate total debt. I added it all up to get the exact amount, in my case, $12,000. Once I had everything in front of me, I could clearly see where the bulk of my money was going, and this clarity allowed me to make a plan to attack the debt. Step two, developing a debt repayment strategy. Now that I knew how much I owed and where my money was going, it was time to decide on a strategy. There are a few popular methods out there for paying off debt quickly, but I'll share the one that worked for me. I chose the debt snowball method. The debt snowball is where you focus on paying off your smallest debt first, regardless of interest. Here's why I went this method. Psychological boost. Paying off the small debt feels like a win and gives you momentum. Motivation. Once you pay off that small debt, you can apply the money you were using to that debt toward the next smallest balance. The more debts you pay off, the more money you have to apply toward the bigger debts. It's like a snowball effect. I started with my smallest debt and paid it off aggressively, then moved on to the next and the next. Eventually, I was knocking down the larger debts too, and the momentum felt amazing. Step 3, cutting expenses aggressively. Now here's where the real work happens. Paying off $12,000 fast requires cutting expenses, and I'm not talking about little things like skipping a latte. I had to make some serious lifestyle changes. I went through every single expense and asked myself, is this something I need or something I want? Here's what I did. Number one, cut off unnecessary subscriptions. I canceled things like Netflix, Spotify, and gym memberships. Two, cook at home. I stopped eating out and started meal prepping. Three, avoid impulse purchases. I made a rule not to buy anything I didn't absolutely need, even if it was on sale. Number four, limit entertainment expenses. Instead of going out to bars, I hosted free game nights with friends and had low cost hobbies like reading, gaming, watching movies, etc. These changes weren't always easy, but they made a huge impact. I freed up hundreds of dollars every month that I could apply directly toward my debt. Step 4, boosting my income. At this point, cutting expenses helped, but I really wanted to accelerate my debt repayment. I knew I had to boost my income. Now you don't have to be making six figures to pay off a large amount of debt quickly. It's all about how much you're willing to work and sacrifice in the short term. Here's what I did to bring in extra cash. I made the tough decision to move back in with my parents temporarily. I know it sounds like a big step backward, but it was one of the smartest financial moves I could have made. Not having to pay rent or utilities saved me a ton of money. That meant the money I was already spending on living expenses could be redirected toward paying down my debt instead. But that wasn't enough. In addition to cutting back on living expenses, I also started working overtime. In fact, I worked 6 days a week for months. Every week, I'd push myself to work those extra hours, even though it wasn't easy. But all that overtime added up and quickly. Working that much boosted my income significantly. I was putting in extra hours at my job, and it helped me earn more money to pay off my debt faster. Even though it was tiring, the thought of becoming debt free kept me motivated. This period of working long hours and living at home wasn't glamorous, but it was necessary. By doing this, I was able to save and pay off debt quickly without taking on additional side hustles or freelancing. It was all about dedicating myself to one job and maximizing my earning potential by working as much as I could. It's a sacrifice, but for me, it was worth it. The more you earn, the faster you pay off debt, and that extra money made a huge difference in my journey. Step 5. Reallocating windfalls and extra money. Along the way, I received a few unexpected windfalls, like tax refunds, bonuses, and even gifts. Normally, people would think of these as opportunities to treat themselves, but I made a conscious decision to apply every single cent of those windfalls directly to my debt. Here's how. Tax refunds. The moment my refund hit, I transferred it straight to my debt payment. Bonuses. When I received a work bonus, I didn't spend it. I paid off a chunk of my debt immediately. Gift money. Whether it was a birthday gift or cash from family, I used that money to eliminate a little more of my balance. These found funds really helped accelerate the process and shave months off my repayment timeline. Step 6. Staying consistent and tracking progress. One of the most important parts of paying off debt quickly is staying consistent. And for me, tracking my progress was key to maintaining that consistency. Here's what I did to stay on track. Number 1. Track everything. I created a simple spreadsheet where I logged my debt payments and additional income and monthly expenses. Number 2. Celebrate milestones. Every time I paid off a debt or hit a major milestone, I gave myself a small, non-financial reward, like a movie night at home. This kept me motivated. Number 3. Stay focused on the end goal. Whenever I felt tempted to splurge or get discouraged, I reminded myself that the freedom from debt was worth far more than any of the temporary satisfaction of buying something I didn't need. Tracking my progress kept me accountable and gave me a sense of achievement as I slowly chipped away at the debt. Step 7. Mindset shift. Finally, the most important thing I had to do was change my mindset. Paying off debt fast requires a mental shift. You have to stop thinking about debt as something that's just normal and start seeing it as a financial burden that's holding you back from your true potential. Here's how I shifted my mindset. Debt isn't your friend. I stopped thinking of debt as manageable and started seeing it for what it truly is, a roadblock to wealth. Focus on the future. I focused on how much better my life would be once I was debt free, not just financially, but emotionally too. Be disciplined. I knew the road to becoming debt free wouldn't be fun 100% of the time, but I reminded myself that the sacrifices were temporary for long term gain. So that's how I paid off $12,000 of debt fast without making six figures. It wasn't easy, but by using a combination of strategic payments, cutting costs, boosting my income, and shifting my mindset, I was able to get debt free and move on to building wealth. Now, I want to hear from you. Are you in debt right now, or have you successfully paid it off? Drop a comment below and let's talk about your journey. If this video helped you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more personal finance tips. Until next time, stay disciplined, stay focused, and as always, grow your wealth wisely.